Yo, what is up guys? Welcome back to the SUPES channel. My name is Matthew Ramos, and on this channel I aim to entertain, inform, and inspire using the topic of discussion as always, which is superheroes. So X-Men Dark Phoenix. Yesterday I got the chance to watch this movie, and despite all of the reviews that are actually trashing this movie, I really enjoyed this movie. And in today's video I'm going to give my thoughts, the good, the bad, the ugly, and give down my review of X-Men Dark Phoenix. So starting off with the bad, going into this movie, the marketing campaign clearly screamed out a big spoiler. Mystique's going to die. They showed it in the trailers and they made it pretty clear. The director confirmed it in an interview. And I feel like with Mystique, someone who we've been with for 3 movies now and someone who we've grown really close to, as she's been one of the main characters in this new X-Men reboot universe, you cannot spoil this in a trailer. And she did end up dying in the movie because they spoiled it and it happened. And you know, it wasn't emotionally gripping. I should have been crying when Mystique died, and it was a sad death, but it was like, damn, they actually did it. Like, it was kind of like how Dany died at the end of Game of Thrones. Like, you knew what was gonna happen, and I feel like that was something that was horribly marketed, because how could you spoil a death like that? And then when we actually saw it in the movie, it had no emotional significance to the audience. It did to our characters on screen, but not to the audience. And that completely cut the connection between the movie and the audience. Another thing as well is, if you love Quicksilver, who I think is by far the coolest character in this X-Men universe, not my favorite, but definitely the coolest, and he has the best moments in all of these movies with that slow-mo montage running scene, but he's not in this movie. Nowhere to be found in this movie. He's there at the beginning, and then he gets hurt, and then he's out for the rest of the movie. And going into this movie, we expected so much from Quicksilver. We expected for him to tell Magneto that that's his dad, for him to have another cool running scene, for him to be a part of the X-Men, and he's not in there. And that, the whole time as the movie is progressing and the third act is unfolding, I'm just like, dude, where's Quicksilver? Where's Quicksilver? He needs to tell Magneto, this is the final movie in this franchise. I needed to see more Quicksilver, and he was nowhere to be found in this movie. He didn't have any cool moments, and just they did him dirty in this film. They did him dirty in this film, and if you like Quicksilver, then don't have any expectations of his character playing a significant role in X-Men Dark Phoenix. Going into this movie, we all know that this is the final film in the Fox X-Men series, and the ending was absolutely horrible. Despite it being a great movie, I couldn't keep my eyes off the screen the entire time, but the ending, it felt so rushed. It felt like from the final battle to the end of the movie, it was like 5 minutes. It was like literally 5 minutes of just the quickest conclusion to a movie I've ever seen in my life. And that you can't do that, because with this being the final film in this Fox X-Men series, who we've grown to love these characters, Charles Xavier, Magneto, Mystique, Dark Phoenix, we've grown to love these characters, and to have it end the way this movie ended was absolutely horrible. And that's why I can see where the reviews are being so aggressive and negative towards this movie, because it did have a really bad ending. But we also have to keep in mind that this movie did reshoot its entire ending, because the original ending was too similar to a previous superhero movie, which we're all expecting to be Captain Marvel, considering the fact that Dark Phoenix and Captain Marvel are 2 extremely powerful characters. And I can see how the endings of both of those films could have been extremely similar. But overall, those reshoots of this ending completely butchered the end of this movie. And I feel like if they would have just, kept the ending how they originally had it, it would have been a lot better. Now, getting into the good of X-Men Dark Phoenix. So this movie hit every emotional beat. The X-Men for the first time are going up against one of their own. There's no other villain. They're going up against one of their own. And because they are, it tears the team apart, and it hits every emotional beat with the character relationships. For me, this is the best part of this movie. This movie is carried by its character relationships. The relationship between Mystique and Beast, Mystique, Magneto, Jean Grey, Cyclops, Jean Grey, Charles. Just the character relationships are what carry this movie, and it hits every emotional beat as it should have, because the X-Men are fighting one of their own and she's very innocent. She can't control her powers, and it's a very emotional movie that doesn't need a lot of action. Despite having a good amount of action in this film that was very badass, it relied on its emotional drama, which was absolutely the best part of this movie. The action in this movie was also pretty badass. Despite the absence of Quicksilver, you know, all of the action that I saw from Nightcrawler, Storm, Magneto, Cyclops, Beast, and a few other new mutants that interacted with the X-Men and took part in that final battle, and you know, the midway action sequences. It was a pretty badass action sequences. I enjoyed the action from beginning to end, and I didn't think it was so. It was on a big scale. I didn't think it was on a big scale, but it didn't need to be. It was just the X-Men versus this other group of villains, and it was awesome to see. I really enjoyed it, and there was parts in that final battle in the train sequence that we saw in the trailer where I was on the edge of my seat. I was like waiting for people to stand up, because the way it all unfolded was so badass, and every character really got their moment besides Quicksilver, obviously. Storm got her moment, Nightcrawler, Cyclops, Beast, Magneto, Jean Grey, Charles, they all got their moments. And that was something that was awesome to see play out, because this is the final X-Men film. I felt like they were just going one by one, giving them their highlights. And each of their highlights was awesome, badass, and made me enjoy the characters a bit more. Overall, I give X-Men Dark Phoenix a C+, because it was a good movie, and I really enjoyed this film. I couldn't keep my eyes off the screen the entire time. However, it did fail to deliver a conclusive ending to this X-Men franchise, and the ending absolutely butchered your thoughts once you were coming out of this movie. Because the first and second act were so good, that ending to this movie was just, it was really bad. And this was due to the reshoots that happened for this film, but that's still no excuse to have the ending that they had. So if you guys have seen X-Men Dark Phoenix, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and see you guys next time.